because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is Colin McGuigan for AFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast, with OnlyFans' newest acquisition in the United Kingdom and Ireland, Tyrone Mckenna. Tyrone, first of all, when you think about this OnlyFans deal, you are the perfect OnlyFans ambassador. Tell me all about it.
I have a massive cock, so obviously there's a lot of fan base there for it. Not joking. Yeah, I don't know, just because I'm good at like promoting myself. Like I've never had a promoter in boxing ever. Like I've never been signed with like a Matchroom or Frank Warren or anything like that. So I've learned to fucking promote myself, promote myself, and get my name out there. And I always think I'm very good at it. So I think OnlyFans, seen that. Obviously, you got me at COLM. Shout out COLM. He got me. This is my agent, by the way. Anyone looking to sponsor me, but they said they're looking someone like myself to come on board. So I think it's natural because I'm so confident and so I'm good at promoting, as I say.
Whenever we think of your career so far, been a bit stop-starting in terms of big opportunities for you. This week you were hoping that you would have been on the card, and for one reason or another it hasn't came off. Are you disappointed not to be a part of a big card like this?
Hugely disappointed. I mean, because my last fight was August, and then I had that fight with Liam Taylor fall through in December, which was unfortunate. And then I thought, right, at least the next show I'm definitely going to be in a big fight, and that's what my main frame was that right, the next show I'm going to be on. And then we were offering people fights, and they were knocking them back, and they were asking for too much money, or they were just being balls and all mouth on social media. And then when they get offered the fights, they don't want them. So it's just fucking. It seems very hard to get a fight. And then obviously Frank Warren, it's a BT Sports show, so he wanted his fighters on it as well. So that kind of took away from some of the budget and stuff. So, but I spoke to Jamie, and he's assured me that he's getting me a massive fight for the summer, and hopefully that comes to fruition. We should be locking in something next week, but we've been accepted for a good title, and we're just looking for an opponent to win it.
When I think of your career, there was a moment when you fought Jose Felix, and we'll get on to last week's events of him beating Gary Cully and Katie Taylor losing first, but that moment after that fight, whenever you kind of went in there, you showed the dog in front of everyone that you always show, then you go and fight Pro Grey. It doesn't go the way that you hope, but then you're starting to rebuild your career again. Is this the most important part of your career? And when you factor in that Jose Felix win, that's even bigger now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, obviously, I'm got it for Gary. He's a teammate and he's a friend of mine, and he's unbelievable. I mean, I've seen a lot of people criticising him getting beat the other week, but people don't realise, like, that was a huge pressure fight for him. Like, he was on a massive stage. It was his first time in Ireland fighting. He was in front of 10,000 people. He's went from being over in England fighting, and maybe say there's 300 or 400 people there for him, and he's went from that automatically to 10,000 people. There's a lot of pressure at, and then the walkout with his friend walking him out. It was just a massive moment, and I don't know if the pressure got him because he is a very confident person and whatnot, but I think he wanted to make a big statement, and unfortunately, I mean, Jose Felix's record speaks for his volumes. I said to him that I don't know if he's a massive puncher, but at my weight, I'm 140, and I weigh in. I come in the fight 155, like I put on the 15 pounds. So it's completely different. Jose Felix he was fighting. Jose Felix is actually naturally his weight, so obviously he got down to his natural weight. He's obviously training away, and he fights better at that weight. And unfortunately, what happened. But Gary will bounce back. Gary's one of the most dedicated fighters I've ever met. He's one of the most confident fighters I've ever met, and he's unbelievable. Like our spars, he's fucking lethal. And yeah, I just hope. He probably, even if when he gets rematched, he'll probably dominate. He'll probably batter. It was just a lucky shot that Jose got. And Jose's a legend as well, by the way. He's a lovely guy. I've spoke to him many times and I've fought him obviously, and he's a nice person. But I'm God for Gary, obviously. But it does show I don't know. What was the question you asked again? I just got into Gary spiel there.
What I was going to ask you was, does this defeat almost benefit Gary Cully? And right now he won't see that.
Yeah.
But down the stretch of his career, you're someone that's tasted defeat.
Yeah.
You're a little bit older than Gary. You understand that this stage of his career, a defeat's not great, but will that help him further on in his
I
career?
think so. I think Gary was very, very hard to match. Everyone was very fearful of Gary. He has a big reputation, and people are staying away from him. So I think now that they maybe have seen him taste defeat, they're like, right, he's not. They won't think he's as good as he is, but he actually is unbelievable. As I say, it was just a lucky punch. But you have to realise that losing isn't the end of the world. It's like boxing like a game of snakes and ladders. Like you can go up, but after like you could drop way down. He just got beat there and he slid down the numbers. But he could get a big fight the next fight because of that defeat. He could get offered a nice fight, and then that'll elevate him straight up to where he was. So I don't think like when I got beat by Jack Harrell, I was good. I was like, fuck, is that the end of the road for me? But it isn't. Like that defeats football. So he just needs to rebuild and reevaluate and maybe go back and practice on the things that maybe he's weak at.
Who would you like to see him in with? Because obviously you're not his manager, but you work closely with him. A lot of people said after that defeat he should move up in weight. Do you think he should?
Nah, I don't think he should. I know Gary personally, and he makes a weight comfortable. He doesn't struggle to make a weight. I don't think he doesn't be drained or nothing for the weight. So no, I don't think he needs to move up. I just think
An opponent like Maxi Hughes, maybe, is that a good one?
100% Maxi Hughes would be perfect for him. Someone where he can maybe. Yeah, Maxi Hughes. Maxi Hughes is the perfect fit for him, to be honest. And I think with Maxi Hughes, there was talk about fight happening. So now that maybe Maxi Hughes wasn't too confident with that fight, but now that he's seen that he's got beat, maybe Maxi Hughes will want to take it now. He'll want to throw down with Gary. So hopefully, I really want Gary to bounce back, and I hope he does that. Main reason I'm so good for him is like I know boxing's everyone's life for boxers, but Gary in particular, like he's one of the most dedicated people. He doesn't do food wrong. He doesn't really drink. He trains every day. Even right after fit, he's in the gym the next day. So I know this defeat will fucking kill him. But listen, I'll probably build him up to be stronger next time.
We'll touch briefly on Katie Taylor. You obviously work so close with her father. How disappointing was it to see her to get beat on her homecoming? Like it's one of them moments where you just expect it to go Katie's way, and unfortunately it doesn't on the night. And Chantal Cameron was a worthy winner.
I agree. I think Chantal won. I love Katie. Like she's my hero. She's Queen of Ireland, and I love watching her face. It just shows you how determined and grit she has. Because when I fought the first round, even I looked at her and I went, "That's not the Katie Taylor that I know or often see." And for her to, after the first 3 rounds, she was getting beat, and for her to come back and claw back and get back into it and nearly come back and win, just shows how lethal she is. And at the age she is, like to win the later rounds, like it was impressive, but it just wasn't meant to be. And it was gutting because it was their homecoming. It was meant to be fucking everything, and then it just didn't happen for her.
Let's move on to your career. What's the names you want, Tyrone? You're at a point where you're not getting any younger, mate. I hate to tell you that.
I know.
You're at the stage of your career where
so.
you actually are looking a wee bit younger today, to be fair. Whenever I think of your career going forward from this point, that Jose Felix, in my opinion, is a massive fight now because he'll want revenge against you. Is that a fight maybe that you'd welcome?
100%. I've always said I want any fight. Any fight. I just want a fight. I'm inactive 9 months. My last fight was in August, and as you say, I'm 33. I'm not getting young, so I'm sitting on the bench for 9 months when I have no reason to. I'm not injured. I'm not out of camp. I'm literally training. I'm waiting for a fight, and an opportunity. It's frustrating. And then you're offering the likes of Marku. I've offered more. I'm not even joking. You're laughing. I am serious, Marku. I've offered you a fight 3 times. And do you know what's depressing about that? For me, Marku, I always thought that's a man that loves a fight, loves a war. I actually respect him. I was like, this guy loves to get in and get the hard fights. And I've offered him 3 times, and he's turned them down with different excuses every time. And then I hear he's going to be fighting and such, and I'm like, happy days. His excuse, he said he would love to fight me, but it's just not the right time. When I heard that deal, I was like, right, this is going to be me getting the haul. And for him to go around and pick a different Irish fucking fighter instead of me, that just shows, like, you've actually lost my respect. Like, that's embarrassing. If you want to be a fighter, fight me. We've had fucking talks about it. I've asked you to fight me a few times, and you've chose a different Irishman. And another thing, if you said, "Oh, I asked too much money," I actually said I'd fight for the same price that other guy fought. So that's not an excuse.
Clearly, you want Marku, right?
I wanted Marky, but he.
What's the excuses that he's given in terms of not wanting this fight?
Well, the first one was he had a baby or whatever, and I was like, fair enough, you've had a baby, you wanted to be at home for it. And I was like, happy days, you're a father now, you do want to stay at home for a while and see your kid. So I was like, fair enough. Hopefully in March time, and then that didn't happen, and then I don't know. It just seems like once I heard that he was looking at an opponent, I was like, happy days, but he obviously doesn't want it.
Would you fight Marku in Albania? Would you go over there, fight him in Albania? Would you fight him anywhere?
I would fight him anywhere. I don't give a fuck where I fight. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a war, and it's going to be me beating him up. So it doesn't matter if it's in Albania or down Castle Street. I'll still win.
What about the likes of Liam Parrow, who's pulled out of the Progress fight with injury? Would you fight someone like that? Is that someone that's on your radar?
That's a man that I'd be actually worried about fighting, because he'd pull out in the last minute. The man's fucking pulling out like fuck. Look, he had that fight with Robbie Davies Jr., pulled out in 3 weeks' notice, and then he had an injury, and then he gets a massive fight against Progress, ball drop. That's what's happening in boxing, dude. Does no one want to fight no more? It's like he's saying he's injured. I've been in, Jose Felix, for example. I'd say 2 weeks before, I couldn't get out of bed with my back. A week before my last spar, I had a cut. Have you seen it? Massive cut. I had to fucking plaster it up, fucking get it stitched inside before a fight, and I still fought. So all these people run about, oh, I'm injured. I fucking have an injury every fight, but I still get in and I'll still fight. So I think 90% of fighters when they fight have an angle, have an injury, but you can still get in unless you're ballless, and we're dealing with a couple of ballless fighters.
We'll move on to the two fighters who aren't ballless, actually, and they've decided to fight. Spence Crawford, you're someone that's trained closely with Boots Ennis. First of all, what's your opinion of the Spence Crawford fight? How does that go? And would you like to see Boots mixing it at some point?
Boots beats them both. Boots is the GOAT. I remember I went over to see Boots, or not see Boots, to train in his father's gym, and I went in. There was no one for me to spar. He went, here, you'll spar my son. I said, him? And I looked over, and there's a wee kid here, and he was like, he must have been 16, and I was 21. And I went, how much fights has he had? And he said, 2 fights, 2 amateur fights. And I said, I am going to batter this kid. I jumped in, I swore to fuck I couldn't hit him. I went, what the fuck is that? 16-year-old just beat me up. But we had a great 2 years, me and him sparred, and it was lethal, and he really brought me on in the pro game. And it was valuable time over, but he's something special. I mean, I was sparring him when he was 17, 18, and 16, and I would hate to spar him now, to be honest. But I think Crawford wins against Spence. I don't think Spence has fought the kind of opposition that Crawford has fought, and what Crawford brings to the table, I think, is more than what Spence is. But I like Spence. It'll be a good fight. I think it's a bit late. I think it should have been done about 3 years ago, but it's kind of like the Manny Pacquiao and the Floyd Mayweather fight, for fuck's sake.
2 more questions for you, right? First one, Mick Conlan in the fight of his life in his home city. Do you think he thrives in this environment of the cauldron, the pressure that's on him? Do you think he thrives in that and wins tomorrow night?
100%. I think going over to Nottingham was a different kind of, like, he's so used to being the whole stadiums for Mick. So going over there was a bit daunting, but he still boxed unbelievable, and he was the best I've ever seen Mick, which is the unfortunate end. But here he'll have 10,000 packed arena. I mean, it's sold out, and even the atmosphere in that fucking weigh-in, I was like, fuck me, this is proper. Everyone's getting behind Mick, and I think he'll thrive over it. And he's so, because he got defeated, Mick's so headstrong and mentally strong that he won't let this fucking, he doesn't want this ever happen again. He's trained his body, so he already was a hard trainer. I'd say he over topped everything that he's ever done in camp, because he does not want to get a defeat again. I think Lopez is lethal. He looks confident. I think it's going to be a lethal fight, but I just think Mick's got a better boxing brain and should be smart enough to pick him off and get the win.
What about Wood Lara over in Manchester, and with the weight issues that have all come out? Well, how do you think that goes?
I love Wood. Lee Wood's a good friend of mine. but I think Laura was going to win that fight. But now that he's had a bit of weight issue, I don't know how much he's took out of him to get down to what weight he. But again, I'm saying that he weighed in very heavy. Like I don't think he even tried to fucking meet weight after he knew he wasn't going to make it. I think he just said, fuck it. So maybe he isn't drained. But Laura's just dangerous with the fucking hands. Wood was boxing well last time, but he just got caught, and Laura's just dangerous for 12 rounds, so it'll be interesting.
Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez in 2 weeks in New York. How do you think that one goes?
And Josh Taylor, I think the last fight with Josh Taylor, Jack Harrell, he kind of took it lately, and he didn't perform to how good he actually is. He is lethal, and I think he's went back after that fight. He's been discussing with what everyone was saying, and he's put in the gym. He's got a new coach. He's knuckled down basically, and I just think Teofimo Lopez's head isn't right at the minute. It seems to be a bit over the place, and I think Josh Taylor's going to try and bully him, and I think he will.
Right, this is the last question. You're a bit of an all-rounder. You have this podcast that's just blown up. It's everywhere, mate. In Belfast, it's everywhere. The Whiskey and White podcast, make sure you check it out. Tell us a bit about that and how it came about, and the calibre of guests that you and Tommy McCarthy are getting.
Yeah, well, me and Tommy always said that we wanted to do a podcast, and because we're not stupid, we're 33, both of us, and we know we're coming to the tail end of our career, maybe a couple of years left, so we wanted to start something where we're going to kind of build it for when we do retire. We'll have something to fall back on it and do, and we enjoy it. Like usually when I'm out of camp, I'm bored. There's nothing to do now. And they can plan Whiskey and White live nights and plan getting guests on, doing the guests and stuff. So it's keeping me busy, but keep me occupied because out of camp, it's the most boring, mundane life in the world. Like you just get up, and I don't even know what day it is most days because it's all the same. You're just waking up, nothing to do. All my mates are working, and I'm just sitting about the house, walking, taking my dog a walk about 6 times a day, and it's so boring. So just having something to like that fall back on, and I didn't think it was going to go as well as it did. It's starting to take off. We've had Jimmy Nesbitt, who's a massive name. We just had today Gareth A. Davis on. Hoping to get Bob Arm on. So Bob, if you're watching, and then obviously after Mick's fight, we're going to try and get him on next week. We've had Jamie on. We've had Liam McCourt. We've had loads of good people on. We're trying to stay away from boxing. We've been trying to keep it into music and acting because we are two boxers, so we didn't want to be stuck in a box like your podcast for boxing. So we tried to stay away from it, and we have. But now that the fight week's happening, I feel like there should be a bit of boxing involved. So Sean will come on last week, and hopefully Mick on after his world title win.
Well, Tyrone, thank you very much for your time on IFL TV. We might see you on the channel tomorrow night, actually, at the event, and we'll catch you again soon. Appreciate it, mate.
Thank you.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,